Hi, got a short wind down type, stretchy flexibility type practice for you. We won't make it very long, but we're going to start on our knees and in child's pose. So if child pose is not really something that you enjoy, maybe come into puppy would be better for you. But I'm going to start quite high up here on my elbows, so you might enjoy this version too. Or rest the head into the fists. You could also use a block here instead. And take a big breath there and feel it expand into your back. And allow yourself to soften as you exhale. Finishing off that exhale fully. And again, deep inhale, expanding through the back and allowing the body to be heavy and relaxed as much as possible. Maybe you move a bit further into child's pose. I've extended my arms forward. You could bring them back beside your feet. It is a lovely version, especially when we're just allowing ourselves to sink into the breath. So check in with how you feel emotionally, maybe any tight spots in the body, and just being aware. No judgment. Don't start to let your mind wander. Just focus on the breath. Okay, so carefully inhale, come up onto the hands and knees, and we'll start to move. So inhale, expand the front of the body, and exhale, round in the back. And as you do, we're going to drop the hips towards the heels. Inhale, coming forward for our sweeping cat-cow. Exhale, round in the back and dropping towards the hips. One more. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, round in the back. Drop into the hips. Drop into the heels. Inhale. Last one. Expand through the front of the body. And then exhale, coming back to our tabletop position. So this time we're not dropping down. So here, I'm going to move the right leg out to the right. So pressing into the foot so that we've still got the expanding through the side rather than onto the heel. And we're going to sink the hips back again towards the heels as we sit down. So keeping that right leg straight at the moment. And one more. Sitting back and down. And then from here, we're going to reach up through the right arm. So taking a light twist to that right side and releasing it down. And then as you do, we're going to reach the right arm through underneath the left and maybe sink into that side. So this is quite a deep stretch, so it might not feel right for everyone. So maybe you're only coming halfway. And release. Okay, coming back onto both knees. Inhale, expand through the front of the body. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, expand again. And exhale, back to our neutral position. And then reaching out through that left side now. Sole of the foot pushing down, toes are pointing forward. And so keeping it onto this side stretch here. So we're stretching into the inside of the leg rather than coming onto the heel, stretching into the back of the leg, sinking back and forward. So just a little movement that feels good for you. You don't have to make this big. Steady in the middle again. Inhale, reaching up through that left side this time. Gaze to the top and release. And as you come down, maybe you're bringing the hand either just underneath the right arm or stretching towards the right, underneath the body. Again, quite a deep twist. So take it easy and release. Okay, from here, bend the elbows and lower forward and down all the way to the mat. Untuck the toes. Coming onto the elbows, reaching the chest forward, rolling the shoulders back and down. Kneecaps lifted, thinking about this expanding through the front of the body, Lift the gaze, lengthen the back of the neck. Long, steady breath. And release. Hands next to the ribs, pushing yourself up from the floor. And this time we're coming forward with the right foot again. So taking it to the outside of the right hand, and we're going to rock forward and back. So coming all the way into that forward lunge, and then rocking all the way back, pulling the foot up, straightening that right leg. So you're getting into the back of the leg as well. Rocking forward and coming back. So coming forward into your version of lizard. Foot next to the hand, so rather than letting it come out to the side, we're now squeezing the knee into the shoulder. Tuck the back foot and lift the knee up, straightening the leg as little or as much as you would like. You don't have to lift it at all if you don't wish. And I'm going to continue to rock because that's the way I like to practice sometimes. Getting a little bit of movement in there. Focusing on the breath, focusing on the length of the body, keeping the neck nice and long. You don't want to be straining and looking it up. Just looking forward and down. And then settling the knee back down. Maybe bring the shoulders, not the shoulders, the elbows down to the mat. Yeah, good luck bringing your shoulders down. Okay. Long, steady breath, focusing on the breath and the body again. And release. Coming back onto the knees. Lower chaturanga, or a version of. Roll the shoulders back. Maybe coming into a little cobra this time rather than the sphinx. Tummy's drawn in and coming back again. This time coming forward with the left foot. Come in. Left foot on the outside of the left hand, keep squeezing the knee into the shoulder so you're not bringing it out to this side, you're keeping it coming forward, lined up with the hip if you can. You could be on your fists here, allowing a bit more space in your wrists, and then tucking the back toes and straightening up the leg as much as or as little as you would like. Maybe you're just keeping the knee down, just tucking the toes, working on that. And again, you can either hold steady, focusing on your breath, or rocking with your breath. Do you know what we didn't do? I didn't do my lunges. So we'll do them now. So straightening up the left leg and lunging forward. Yeah. It's like a pyramid sequence, going backwards. And release, and come forward. One more, coming into the back of the leg. And then as we hold forward, possibly now going to sink onto the elbows for a deeper version of the lizard on this left side. So again, being mindful of what is right for you tonight or today, whenever it is you're practicing. And release. Coming back onto the knees, tuck the toes. I'm going to come into one downward facing dog. Not staying here for long, but it's a nice place to practice. So from here, I'm going to lift up the right leg, pulling the heel in and rolling the hip open so that we're getting the stretch across the front of the body and the front of the hip. And return to the mat, placing the right foot down next to the left and coming into that three-leg down dog. On the left side, lifting the foot up and back, bending the knee, rolling the hip open. Heel is coming towards the opposite hip as you twist through the hips and place it back down. Okay, from here, bringing the right knee forward, coming onto the knee behind the right wrist and bringing the left leg back and straight. Coming into quite a little pigeon. So I've still got the heel tucked underneath the left hip, keeping my hips square towards the mat and top of the foot on the left side pushing down. So what you don't want to do is roll off to the side. that avoids the stretch. We want to feel it in that right hip. So either staying here and just having a nice gentle movement, only if it's okay for your knees. I'm saying gentle, it's not gentle for everyone. So you may prefer to come on to thread the needle pose. That may be more appropriate for you today. Or you can move the left foot nearer the left. That's not my left foot, it's my right foot nearer the left hand. That's the way. Okay. Chest coming forward, shoulders down. And again, thinking about the hips coming forward and down, and possibly going to come forward onto the elbows, allowing yourself to sink into this version of pigeon. So it's one of these poses that there's so many different ways to practice it. Possibly pushing into the back foot now and lifting the knee. So going for that extension through the back leg, very similar to as we just did in our lizard. And release. Okay, walking the hands back in. So we're going to do one lifted version. So taking the left foot in towards the hip. So I'm keeping this quite high. Yeah, just 'cause that's what I need at the moment. So try not to force too much, just finding a little bit of extra movement in the body. And release. So leaning onto the right hip, swing this left leg all the way around, bring it over the right knee and hugging into the chest. And then from there, I'm going to twist round, bend, look behind. So your choice. Maybe you can bring the elbow or the shoulder to the outside of the knee, possibly reach down and take the foot. You don't have to. So we could just work on the elbow here, pushing, just getting a little bit more depth into the twist. Again, be mindful of how that works in your body. Is it creating tension or releasing tension? Because we want to release it, we don't want to create it. And settling this hip back down towards the mat. Kind of want to get those opposite movements going. And release. Okay, crossing the legs, tuck the toes under, coming back into downward facing dog. So I'm going to come into pigeon on this left side now. So bringing myself forward, left knee behind the left wrist, and start to reach back with that right. You want to slide back as much as possible, and then untuck the toes, maybe keep adjusting, sinking the hips a little bit closer to the mat, shoulders rolling down, tummies drawn in, chest coming forward and lifted, gazes forward. Focusing again on the breath. So again, your practice. I've still got the foot tucked right underneath my right hip. Sometimes you don't need to make it deeper. Sometimes making it deeper, is not the best way to go. Be mindful of how this feels in your hip and the knee, and possibly coming further forward and down. So as you come down, you're drawing the tummy in, reaching the chest forward. You're trying to get as much of the spine to snake forward as possible. Maybe you're going to come and lie all the way down. Again, possibly push into that back foot and allow the knee to lift. This makes it quite active. Moving the right leg back as you bring the chest a bit further forward. Again, making sure you're not creating tension when you could be releasing. Inhale, coming back up. Allow the back leg to relax as you lean a little forward to bring the foot closer to the hip. Then once you take hold, maybe draw it in. So I'm still leaning forward because I don't want this to be about a back bend. I'm looking for this to be all about that back back leg, about the quads in my leg. So it's all about the tightness in the legs rather than creating a full back bend and coming into King Pigeon. Okay, and release. From here, sitting onto that left hip, swinging the right leg all the way around. So foot come into either the inside of the knee, or if you can, take it all the way past the knee and give it a hug into the chest and spiral around to this right side, taking the right hand behind. And then here is where you might want to take the bind, shoulder or the elbow to the outside of the knee. Maybe you can take the hand to the instep and sink into your twist a little bit more. So this right hand can also come round the back as well if that feels good for you. And release. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to come into Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together, heels pushing together, outside edge of the feet pushing into the floor and pushing together as you roll the feet open, which will possibly bring the legs further apart. And then maybe you're going to reach the chest forward and down and coming into a little bit of a forward fold over our bound angle pose. It's entirely up to you how and where you work on these poses. And then sitting tall, and I'm going to take the next version, which is to round the back and bring the crown of the head to the feet. Inhale, lift up, exhale, release. So go ahead and lie down. That's the last pose from me tonight. You can take a few twists, you can stretch out in Shavasana, or find a position that's good for you to rest in, and follow your breath. Slow things down, really keep things nice and calm. Nice long steady breath.